guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a book video, a book wrap up, which is something I feel like I've not done in a very long time. I have been doing, or I have been watching a lot of booktube and book talk videos, wrap ups from the end of 2022, favourite book videos, book hauls for the new year, all of that good stuff, and some book vlogs as well. So I have been reading quite a bit, more so compared to last year, and I'm really trying to up my game with reading this year. So I thought I'd do little reviews on everything that I've read so far this year, also show you the sort of book journal that I've purchased for this year, and yeah, just talk all things good books. So there is hopefully a little bit of something for everyone in here. We've got some non-fiction, some mystery, so I've got 6 books to do little reviews for, so hopefully there's something in here that you find that you like and enjoy. So let me start with the book journal that I'm using this year. So this is the one I used last year from Doodles and Calm, and I really liked it. My reading wasn't as great as I would have hoped, so it was a little bit sporadic, but I quite like the way that you could review things, track your sort of daily reading. This is very much for like the hardcore person that reads every day, but I liked it in the sense that you could track all the genres, you could track sort of daily. My daily one was a little bit all over the place because my reading was quite sporadic, but I wasn't able to purchase one for this year. By the time I went to start looking in December, they were all sold out, and she's not restocking them for the next year because she's working on a new update. So that was that one. So I had to go and start looking for something else, and I came across this one by Martha Brook, and I did do a little bit of looking. Ultimately, the cover of this kind of won me over. You can get this straight from Martha Brook, or you can get it on Not on the High Street, which is where I got it from. And so it is this like cloth bound book. You've got this light purple grey with the burgundy edging, and it says just one more page, a book journal, and then you can get it embossed at the bottom with your initials. So really nice gift if you want to get it from someone. It's burgundy on the inside. I will show you quickly sort of what this looks like, because I always find it really hard to find book journals and like what they look like inside. So you've got the front title page, and I did put my name and then the year and then the goal that I'm trying to achieve this year, which is 30 books. My Goodreads account will be down below if you want sort of like to follow me on there and get the most up-to-date sort of updates. You have some little quote pages, and then you have this bookshelf. So I have just been filling it in as I finish a book with the title, and the colour corresponds to how many stars I gave it. You then have a couple pages of my to be read. It was a little bit thin, the pages, for the markers I had, so I'm kind of being careful with that. But yeah, here's my my to be read, and I've obviously got 30 book challenge there, and then I would tick them off if I've read the book. Then you've got the books I've read, so everything that I've read this year at a glance, and then you can star it at the end of quote, and you've got some notes pages, and then you get a full double spread for each book, which I think is really nice. So you can put obviously the title and the author, and then what format you read it in, the genre, the date it was published, how many stars you gave it, and then how long it took you to read it. So the date, started and finish. You've then got a summary of the book, my review and thoughts, quotes, other notes, and then who would you recommend it to. So I'll kind of like dip into this as I'm showing you each book. But yeah, quotes, I find I'm not big on sort of quotes and annotating and really sort of taking that literary side of things. I'm not great at that, so I often will cross that out and just continue sort of my thoughts. But they title it, so like I said, you've got one for each page. And then towards the back of the book is something I wouldn't really use too much. There's a lot of notes pages, both lined and like a dot grid. And then let me show you my favourite books, and you can list them. Books that made me cry. So I would use this more if this was going to be more of a life journal, or if you're using it for multiple years. I don't know how effective that would be just for the course of a year, unless you read a lot a lot of books, books I wish I could read again, a book club list. So if you are part of a book club, what I've just added into the grid note section is books by genre, because I really like to see what sort of books I gravitate to, so I've sort of created my own there. So there is a little bit of room in it to add in what you want, track what you want, but you have got those main sort of guidelines for the reviews, which I like. So first book I'm going to start with is one that I did finish towards the end of the last year, and I believe I gave it 5 stars, and this is part of the sort of a Beyond the Page bookstore mystery series by Lauren Elliott. You don't have to particularly read these in order. I've read, I think, the first one and didn't particularly like it, and this is like the 8th in the series, I think. But I picked this up when we were in Florida. This is A Margin for Murder. Did the cover draw me in? Yes, it definitely did. This is small town murder mystery. Got Addie, who owns a bookshop, and her and one of her friends, they go to the sort of neighbouring town because there is a library closing down and lots of books for sale, and they want to go and have a look for all these books. Spoiler, they end up, well, it's not really a spoiler, they tell you straight off the bat, she ends up buying the bookmobile, and very quickly after they do that, the person that sold it to them ends up mysteriously dying following a big party that is happening for the library. Addie and her friend get roped in. The police start to look at them as suspects. You have a little bit of romance in it, not a ton because I'm not a romance reader, but a little bit of romance. You've got relationships, aplenty in here, friendships, boyfriend and girlfriend relationships, yeah, you've got it all in here really, as far as that goes. I really liked it. It was very easy to read, it kept me gripped. Some of the twists and turns I didn't expect, and I thought the ending was really quite clever, and how the mystery was sort of solved. So I very much enjoyed that, and definitely would like to pick up some more of her other books. And again, this one I completed towards the end of last year but finished at the start of this year, and this is Murder on the Christmas Express by Alexandra Benedict. Don't be put off by the fact that this says Christmas Express. You really could read this all year round. Yes, it is set in the days leading up to Christmas, but that's pretty much as far as it goes. You've got the main character who is on the sleeper train back up to Scotland to be there for her daughter's delivery of her child, and they basically get snowed in this train, of which a murder happens, and in fact more than one murder ends up happening. This is very much a modern day Murder on the Orient Express. I was expecting it to be sort of more in the past, but it is present day. You've got like your influencers and your young kids at university. Yeah, it says 18 passengers, 7 stops, 1 killer, and this just kept me really gripped. Again, I didn't really see sort of anything coming with it. It was definitely a page turner, and I really enjoyed this, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, I gave this 5 out of 5 stars as well. And then going on to the ones I actually started to read in and plot in my book journal. So the first one is Tom Hindle's A Fatal Crossing, and I've had this for a while and tried to pick it up for a while, but never had the right time for it. But this is about a murder that happens on a cruise ship. It's going from Southampton to New York, and it follows, the main character is one of the officers on the ship, and he has to work very closely with this off-duty British police officer who happens to be on the boat going to New York, and they end up together having to try and solve this mystery of this guy that falls and dies down a flight of stairs on the ship. Obviously it's not quite as simple as that sounds. I've put who would recommend this, and I put those who like mysteries at sea. So if you like anything sort of around a cruise ship, it's very much World War surrounding, sort of like Titanic-esque feel. It's set in 1924, and yeah, I've put when a murder takes place and a very expensive painting is stolen, it's down to Officer Birch and off-duty policeman Temple to work together and solve the case before they make it to New York. So yeah, there's this whole thing about these high price ticket paintings that have gone missing. Are they the reason this person's died? I gave it 3 stars. It didn't blow me away. I wasn't completely gripped. Unfortunately, Officer Temple is a really unpleasant character and really unlikable, and for me that kind of had an effect on the book. I would have liked the side of Officer Birch and his war side of things and his PTSD to been explored more, and towards the end I felt like it could have been expanded more once they got off the ship. I thought it was cut pretty cutthroat. That being said, what happened at the end between Birch and Temple, did not see coming, and yeah, that was a really good plot twist to the end, so I enjoyed that. But yeah, I did only give it 3 out of 5 stars. The next book is probably my favourite so far of the year, and this is Miss Benson's Beetle. And again, there's a bookmark in here. Like, I seem to constantly leave bookmarks in my books. So this one I ended up reading after seeing someone recommend it from the end of year wrap up. And I had it on my shelf anyway, but I kind of just hadn't picked it up, and to be honest, I didn't think I was going to love it as much as I did. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and it's about this middle-aged woman who has her heart set on travelling all the way across the world to this little island off the coast of Asia and Australia, and to find this mysterious beetle that she thinks is possibly out there. And she puts an advert out for someone to be her assistant, hopefully learn who knows French and come with her, and this very opposite lady turns up, this very sort of youthful, dolled up to the nines, pink suit, bleach blonde hair woman. That's sort of the comparison between them two on the book there. She ends up going along with her, not by her first choice. It is really, really good. It is set, I believe, in the 1950s. And yeah, so Marjorie's the main character, and she leaves her teaching job to go and find and explore the world for this beetle. And I just found this such a beautiful book. The friendship that developed between Marjorie and Enid was so lovely. You really warm to both characters. Enid is not all that she seems, and we sort of gather that from the start. We just don't know what she's hiding, but we really well, at least I felt really attached to her, and I didn't want her to be this like bad character that we think that she might possibly be. But yeah, really, really enjoyed it. In my book I've put anyone, I would recommend this to anyone looking for new friends, because that's how it felt. It does have a sad but happy ending, and there's like this whole sort of like drama fight scene at the end, and yeah, it is sad, but it does sort of leave you still feeling uplifted, and it does feel like you've left with 2 new friends. So I really would recommend this to anyone looking for like a travel fiction. It's really sort of light and easy to read, a nice sort of beach holiday read, so I definitely enjoyed that. Next I read non-fiction, which is something which I rarely read, but actually the next 2 books are non-fiction, and this is David Baddiel's Jews Don't Count, and I really wanted to read this after seeing his TV show, which has the same name, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I would say if you have seen the TV programme, I don't think you necessarily need to read this, because a lot of what's in here is covered in that TV show from the same people, the same anecdotes, so I don't know if you necessarily would need to pick this up. It is a really short book. It's only sort of 140 pages, so really easy to fly through. I've put, who would I recommend it to? Anyone wanting to open their eyes. I am from a Jewish heritage, so it is really interesting for me to read, and it really highlights how anti-Semitism is still very much present and is seen as sort of a lower class form of racism, whether it be in politics or in sport. It very much sits on the back burner, and people still don't quite take it as seriously as other forms of racism, unfortunately. And one of the things that I took away from both the book and the TV show is every Jewish school in the UK has to run emergency drills for if the school came under attack. And I find that so upsetting and sad, because obviously we see America, they practice for like gun shootings and things, and we think that's such a far removed idea. Like, you could never imagine that happening in the UK. We don't have that sort of gun culture. But to know and realise that there are schools that have to do that, and it's through no fault of the children's, you know, it's no fault of the children's that they have to do this. And yeah, he was interviewing in one of the schools when they had to do one of these random practice drills, so that was really saddening. Yeah, like I said, if you've not seen the TV show, and I'm not sure you can get it anymore on Channel 4 or Channel 5, so yeah, then I would recommend picking this up, because it is got some very high recommendations on it. Not sure if Keir Starmer is particularly high on my list of recommendations, but like Stephen Fry, Sarah Silverman, Neil Gaiman. So yeah, I would pick it up if you're looking to sort of just open your eyes on that side of things in life, and especially maybe even if you're not Jewish yourself, if you know someone, if you've got a friend that's Jewish, to see what it might be like for them living in today's society. And then the book that I've literally just stopped reading is Diary of a Tuscan Bookshop, and this is such a beautiful cover. Really, really liked it. And this is by Alba Donati. I don't think it comes out in all countries until later on in the year, because I know my friend in Canada, this doesn't come out till like May time, I think. I really, really wanted to love this book. I could only give it 2 stars. So it is a non-fiction book from Alba's life, and I've put it's about an Italian woman who creates a crowdfund page to help open a bookshop in her small local town, facing the shop burning down and navigating through the pandemic. So she has a very different way of creating a bookshop from anything that I've heard or read before. She literally does a crowdfund page, and people from near and far, you know, pledge money to help open this bookshop. At some point it does burn down, and she's able to crowdfund again and reopen it. It talks about her life with the shop through the pandemic, but very, very lightly. For me, this had so much potential, and it just felt a little bit flat for me. There was too many characters and like family members in this book, and I felt it sort of diverted away from what I really wanted to read about, and that was her and her bookshop, and how, you know, the day-to-day, the running of it, how she really faced the pandemic. It's set through the year 2021. It shows obviously a pandemic side of things from Italy, but yeah, and there was one quote in here that she actually read or spoke about, and it just encapsulated this book perfectly for me. And this is what she said: "It's so frustrating to come across a promising book that didn't live up to its potential." And for me, sadly, that is this book. I'm not saying it wouldn't be for everyone, because I can totally see the potential in it. I read a non-fiction Italian book last year that was about a British woman who went over to Italy, and I enjoyed that so much more. What was that? I can't remember what that is off the top of my head, but I will insert a little annotation. I'm trying to look for it on my bookshelves, and I can't see where I've put it. But yeah, I really preferred that over this, so sadly that's why I can only give it 2 stars. So those are the 4 books that I've read so far. The book that I'm currently reading is The Dilemma by B.A. Paris. I think I've read one of their other books. Yes, I've read The Therapist by B.A. Paris, and I really quite enjoyed that, so I think this will have quite high rating for me. I started it last night and I'm 30 pages in, so that's pretty good for me, the fact that I wanted to continue sort of more than the first chapter. And so far what I gather from this is the main character, one of the main characters is called Livia. She's preparing for a big 40th birthday party for herself. Her husband Adam is helping her throw it, and what he has created a surprise is that their daughter is going to come back from Hong Kong to surprise her on her birthday. She doesn't know this, and she's kind of actually grateful that she's not going to be there, or so she thinks. And there's this whole secret with their daughter Marnie that we are yet to uncover. There also seems to be something going on with their son that the mother knows about, but the father doesn't. The mother seems to know everything in this, and the dad seems to be in the dark. So yeah, I think this has really high potential. So that's all that I've read so far this year. Hopefully there is something in there to sort of whet your appetite. I'm really excited this year to read more again and just really fall back into love with reading. I have got a whole cart of books here. I don't know if you can see. Excuse the messy pins on top, but all those books there are ones that I have yet to read, so I'm really trying to put myself on a book buying ban until I clear some of these. I have a lot of books that I picked up from like charity shops for really, really cheap, or like they were being whisked in the local community. So I have a lot of murder mystery and thrillers on there. So yeah, let me know if you also are totally in for the book reviews and that this year. Hopefully I can do some more for you in between the vlogs, and yeah, I will see you in my next video. Make sure you subscribe and then you won't miss any of my future reviews, and I will see you soon. Bye guys.